Recording now, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Mumbles Community Council meeting on the 9th of December 2025, the last meeting of full council for 2025. Can I start by having any apologies for absence, please?
Yes. Three apologies, Chair. Councillors Trevor Carr, Dave Lewis, and Phil Keaton.
Can I also add some people? She's in work.
And Richard Jarvis as well.
Yeah, filthy.
Okay, thank you. Any declarations of interest, Rebecca?
Yeah, so my usual personal being a city councillor and a community councillor, there'll be probably multiple agenda items, but under the closed session, the Underhill reports, there will be decision made by cabinet, so that'll be prejudicial interest to me and I'll withdraw.
Okay, thank you.
I'm the same person.
Personally, you're staying for that, yeah, because you're on the cabinet. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's the same.
I think you won the Christmas Jumbo.
Same for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, Carrie, guys, you stop talking because we can't, thank you. Carrie, go on.
Yep, so I need to declare a personal prejudicial interest in item 15. Just for transparency reasons, I will explain. I will stay to explain the report to councillors and then I will leave once I've explained the report and you can have your discussions in private. Thank you.
Very much. Okay, number 3 is.
Sorry, just with the Underhill, just my normal Newton Athletic link as well.
Yeah. Okay, so personal interest there. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, number 3 is public participation. There doesn't appear to be any public here to make any statements. So we're going to move swiftly on to approve the minutes held on the 15th of November, which are in your packs. So we'll give everyone a minute to just have a little glaze over those, just in case you haven't done. But if everyone is not seeing any hands or any issues for anyone, okay, so all those in favour accepting the minutes from November? Okay, that's carried, thank you. Okay, moving on to Chair's report. Not a huge amount to report this month, just mainly that the community consultation is now live, so public and constituents of ours can make representations to what they'd like to see the council's budget spent on. There's a link to that on our website, so the thousands of people watching this video back can all participate in that. I went to Newton School to partake in their assembly, which was a lot of fun, I have to say. Great to see all the kids engaged. They were asking lots of questions about the council, how it worked, what we funded. So, you know, it's good to see the younger generation showing an interest as well. And I'd like to thank Newton School for that. We've got our budget setting the next couple of weeks, which obviously set out our spending for the next year or years to come. So, you know, we're looking forward to that and hopefully you know, the public will be very happy with the sort of things that we're going to put into that, because I think everyone here, we have many differences, but we all want the village to thrive, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of good stuff in that. And just lastly, just to say Merry Christmas to all of my fellow councillors and constituents throughout Mumbles. So Pam.
Well, it is. I can have apostrophes in the right place on the agenda, please. And 2, can I say to all new councillors and people who haven't done this, chairs training for community councillors, if you're coming up in May, do get out and get on the chairs training, because to have some new blood in chairs would be absolutely brilliant.
I'm sure in addition to your thanks to Newton School, you would want to add thanks to the pupils at Whitestone Primary who've already taken part in community consultation.
They have indeed.
I'm sure the other schools as well.
I'm sure I would. I was talking about my it wasn't actually a consultation, it was a visit I went to. So yes, we will thank the schools for partaking in the consultation as well, separately then. So thanks for that, Rebecca. And also would like to thank the staff for all their hard work this year, so we couldn't do it without you, so thank you very much. Okay, moving on to the clerk's report. Over to you, Carrie.
Thank you. Okay, so just a few things for me this evening. Bear with me. Sorry, my report's just opening now. It's having a think. Okay, so the first one is the graffiti removal at the skate park. Under delegated powers on the 28th of November, I instructed One Stop Solutions to carry out graffiti removal at the skate park. following recent concerns regarding safeguarding issues and risk for users. The work is not commenced yet due to the adverse weather conditions, but will begin as soon as conditions allow. Therefore, I emailed all councillors and I am seeking retrospective approval for the quote, which is 2,200 before VAT, which makes it 2,000, just under 2,006 after VAT. But I'd also like to formally acknowledge and thank Mumbles Skates Park Association for their generous contribution of £350 towards this work. And so that's the first one. The second one is Councillor Scott and I have met with Professor Nella Nori from Fit the Streets to explore the opportunities for a community-led street art project to improve engagement with skate park users. It was a very positive discussion, which aligns with the ongoing aims to reduce negative tagging and graffiti at the skate park whilst involving the youth. Councillor Scott will provide a more detailed update during her chair's report later on in the agenda. As the chair's just touched on, we've also started community consultation, and earlier this month I delivered a school assembly at Whitestone Primary School with Councillor Carrie Townsend Jones in support there to actually help me collect the data from the session. It's very important that we capture the views of our young people in the community consultation, and also to raise awareness of the council's role within the community. The pupils were very engaged and got some very good answers and some very amusing answers from the younger pupils, but obviously these will be incorporated into our findings. And just a reminder to all to complete the survey because your views are important to us. And then finally, Section 6 Biodiversity and Resilience Duty Report is a piece of statutory obligation under the Environmental Wales Act 2016. We as a council were behind when we approved and published this in autumn 2023, and it's a piece of work that needs to be carried out 3 years. So when we approved in autumn 2023, it actually put us out of the cycle of the 3-year cycle. The report has to be republished on our website by the end of December, end of this month this year. There has been work undertaken now to update the report, and again I'm seeking council's approval to publish that updated report on the council's website. And then finally from me, the office for Christmas closure will close on Monday the 23rd of December at 2 p.m. after coffee with friends, and we will reopen on Monday the 5th of January with all staff utilising annual leave during that closure period for the office to be closed. And also just like to point out that Hannah will actually be working on the 2nd of January to assist the Males Craftathon, which has taken place on that date. And that's my report. Thank you. You're on mute, Chair, so we can't hear what you're saying.
I'm just unmuted to the.
Sorry.
Sure. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Gary, I was just saying thank you very much. Sounds like another busy month, and I know that's just scratching the surface because been dealing with you on a lot of things as well. Rob's got a question, I think.
Hi, Gary. Just a quick question. What's the situation update on a new events marketing officer, please?
So that has been discussed with the personnel committee, and it's something that will be discussed further in the item 15 report this evening.
Okay, Pam, do you want to?
I've just found out that there was a meeting with you and the chair of community about the skate park. I think it'd be nice if I've missed the email, I do beg your pardon, if other members of the committee were invited along, if only as observers, to discuss what was going on. That'd be really nice. Did I miss the email?
Chair. No,
Yeah,
sorry,
on.
Chair. Can I come in there? So it was purely a fact-finding mission from myself and the chair of the Community and Social Committee, and he will be updating further now when he does his chair's reports and asking council some important questions, which I will leave to the councillor to ask at that point in the meeting. Thank you.
You can cover that. To financial report. So you've got the financial report in your packs. So I don't like to rush through this. So if everyone wants to just have a scan over it, because there's quite a lot of money going out of the account. Just like to thank Paul for separating the sections now into Ostream Centre as well and Underhill Hub. So that's thanks for that. It's much easier to digest, and we can see and the public and ourselves can give a lot more scrutiny to each of the venues. One other thing I would like to another thing I would like to add, if you could just take a note, if a councillor is using their individual budget, maybe if you could put that against that as well, so that someone could see what that councillor is spending
That's a good idea.
their money on. Just as mine's in there for the change rooms at Underhill, but it doesn't say where that money's come from, so that's fine. Kerry.
Yeah, so can I just come in as well, Chair? Just for the purpose of transparency, there is a actual typo on the agenda. It doesn't affect the business you're transacting this evening. It does actually say to approve the financial report for September on the agenda, and it should actually say for October, because that's October's report you've got in front of you there.
That's September. It's October.
Oh, sorry, line 2. Thank you. Cheers. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, we noted that, and we can make note of that in the minutes, Ian, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So, Laura.
Yeah, I was just wondering, on the financial report, it's £377 for Welsh translation. I was just wondering about that, because I know, like, in work, we use a service called Hello Blog, which does it all for free. So I was just wondering if there was any way of looking into a free service for that, or what it's for.
Yeah.
Can I come in there? Like obviously Google Translate is getting better and better. I often just do small little bits and bobs through Google Translate. But then the big bits of text we do then get someone to edit it. So it depends what it is. If it's quite technical, I think you need someone to look at it. If it's something that's a bit more
Yeah, no, this
I tend to just
Hello Blog does that. It's like an actual person that comes back, but it's all free. But I don't know what the criteria is for having it free. Maybe it, but I just thought it might be something to save them.
Can we ask him what work you do? Ask him what area you're in.
Let's not go into that quite now. It could go on quite a while. We can have a discussion afterwards. Kerry, could you to Laura's recommendation for translation services for the minutes, maybe separately? 1 second.
Yeah, of course. Just to clarify, that was actually for translation of our agendas, the newsletter, which is now being has been approved and being worked into the Welsh format, ready to go out digitally before Christmas, and the consultation as well to have that translated into Welsh as well for Welsh versions to be available. So there was quite a large piece of work to be translated.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that, Ian.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I'd just like to ask about the West Cross Halloween party. How it was funded, £910.63. How was that funded?
It was partially my thing, right, for the community council allowance, part Warm Hub funding. Yes. Could I ask something, Chair? Before they actually put the newsletter out, could we have a look at it to see? Because last year's West Cross hardly existed. I don't think Mails existed at all. It's there, is it?
Kerry, is that possible, or has that gone to print?
Yeah, so basically you've seen a copy of it, Will, before it was published, and I can confirm that each ward has got 2 full pages each with photographs in there. Sarah, you did supply me with the photographs that have been included in the report. Phil actually wrote the piece that went in. So yeah, I can confirm that both Mails and West Cross all wards do feature in there very equally.
So thank you, and you were off mic then, just so you know.
Thank you.
Sorry, just one more thing. I think somebody may have brought this up before, but also there's an entry for Cardiff Coffee Company. I was just wondering why we're not using like Gower Coffee or Mumbles Coffee or company.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that's underneath Underhill, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
60.
Yeah. Could this was brought up last month, Kerry? Could you shed some light on that or ask the cafe manager to make it out?
Yeah, it's actually covered under item 15 as well this evening for everybody to consider as well.
Thanks very much. That's good to know. Okay. Right. Are there any other questions on the financial report? If not, we'll move through to the recommendations. So the first recommendation is the payments made by the RFO for November 25 be retrospectively approved. All those in favour? Thank you. It's passed. Number 2, to approve the budget monitoring report for October 2025. All those in favour? Thank you. And item number 3, to retrospectively approve bank transfers made between Mumbles Community Council's bank accounts for November 2025. All those in favour? Thank you. And Kerry, I'll just mention it as I do every month. Have we any progress on the interest on the account? Nothing yet, or?
No, I can, I will speak to you about this outside of the council as well, because you have already had one presentation from a company that we could put our money in with, if that makes sense. That is quite a good service that a lot of councils use. That I think there was a couple of questions that come back from that, and they're keen to come back and to present to either full council or finance committee again. It's quite difficult for us as a council with changing bank accounts is not as quick and as easy as it is if you're a personal person, and finding the right bank account for a community council to put our money in is quite difficult sometimes. But yes, leave it with me and I will chase it up if that's okay.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. Yeah, as long as it's on the agenda, because obviously it could mean the difference in 1 or 2 extra projects per year. So I think it's definitely worth looking into. So yeah, thanks for that. Okay, obviously we'd want to, anything we moved it to would have to be FCA approved. To know Iceland Bank, the skill like that was in 2008. We wouldn't want that, would we? So yeah, okay. Number 8 is to consider the committee recommendations. Okay, so recommendation number 1 is a grant application from the Mumbles Croquet Club. Rob, do you want me to read through these, or do you want to speak to them?
I don't mind, whatever.
Over to you then.
Okay. Okay, so this is the third part, or the grant. The Croquet Club is split 3 ways. So this is the grant for Mumbles Croquet Club. So we approved that because we approved the other 2. The required money. So yeah, you'll go to that through.
Okay, so I think just to give a bit more detail, the maintenance of the bowls green is split into 3. There's 2 bowls clubs, and there's the croquet club, and with that accumulates to half of the maintenance cost, which they raise the other half. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have in the past supported it, every year, and this is basically just to keep that going. I think it's great. It's very well used now. It's very, they're doing Francesca did a great job with the grant, and the community council paid in for the refurbishment of the pavilion. So, hats off there. It's really looking fantastic down there. Still a little bit to do, but we've obviously got new toilets in there now as well. So that's all great. The clubs are thriving.
And their membership is growing.
It's great. The only thing I would like to add as a caveat, if everyone agrees, the croquet, they do have junior croquet sets, kids ones, and they're separate, plastic things. I think it'd be a little bit of fun for them to, if they could look into purchasing that, maybe, or get a grant. If we could ask them to maybe look into kids' participation, if everyone's in agreement. But we won't make it a recommendation, but maybe an aspiration, if that's all right. Ian, did you copy that? Cool, thanks. Okay, so all those in favour of supporting the grant for Croquet Club? It's unanimous, thank you. Over to you, Rob, for Victoria.
Okay, the Victoria applied for £500 to start conversational Welsh classes in a community environment. well, any opportunity for us to support growing the Welsh language and the number of people learning it and or trying to learn it, the better. So again, we thought it was money well spent to award the grant.
Could I just ask one question? It says to start, but I've been told it's been running for some time.
Okay, well, maybe some a bad choice of words to start to help it. flourish.
And have they investigated all the free materials that are available through
have no
Dysgu
idea.
Cymraeg?
I have no
Well,
idea.
it would seem sensible first, before we give them money to purchase, that they actually look at what is available from Dysgu Cymraeg, because I think they'll find that almost everything is made available for
I
free.
think it was to reimburse for what the pub were giving out in coffee and teas for people attending. So I think that's the reason for the grant application, what I
They're
remember.
not able to pay for their own.
Yeah, I sent an
Maybe
email
do.
out on the 10th of November informing yourselves that I had spoken to Peter de Victoria, and he runs a session on Monday. He's already running. He was aware of another session going on in All Saints. He was unaware of any other sessions. They have a retired Welsh teacher. They have all the textbooks they require, but the grant will be used to help with photocopying what they need and help with the refreshments.
Does it say how long, over how long it's
Sorry, I'm just going in order and put your hand up. It's just a big protocol. Go on, Helen.
Like, well, I think we should support it. You know, people want to learn in different environments. Some people like school, some people like the pub.
Yeah.
I understand the pub.
Absolutely.
I think we should go for it.
Yes, I'm sorry.
yes, yeah, I support it, but I was just wondering after, if it's specified like this over a 6-month spell or over a year, how long that help is going to be there.
Over a year.
Oh, yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I want to speak in favour as well. As people know, I'm really supportive of growing the Welsh language, and congratulations, really, I suppose, to an environment and a setting that you wouldn't necessarily naturally think of as pursuing this. So yeah, happy to support.
Sarah, then
One little concern, it's a pub and it gives it the edge. If it's got people going there for that, they stay for food, more drinks. It's good for their business, but what about the other pubs in the around the area? I suppose they could choose to start a class if they want. That's all. Just
I think-
concerned about that.
yeah, and I think it's important that we stipulate that any refreshments are only to be used by people. You know,
And not to be as alcohol.
yeah, no alcohol, and also only to be used on you know, people, someone that comes in, you know.
During the daytime,
Yeah.
so kids will be in school, so they wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, if someone walks off the street and sees a sandwich on the side, you know, no, it's not.
Children.
I think as long as it's stipulated. Carly, if you could maybe share the free resources with the, so you could send it through to them with the grant, is that all right? That'd be great.
It's just that they're all on the website, so easy to access.
It's easy when you know how, Carly. That's good. Okay, Rob, number 3 to you.
Okay, this was
Oh, sorry. Yes. Oh, that's- Okay, so all those in favour of the grant from Victoria, and thank you. Okay, now moving on to number 3.
so number 3 is Ysgol Gynradd Gymraeg Rhondderw.
We didn't realise that was what it was because that's not written.
It's not written there.
Prejudice entrance and leaves children at the school.
Okay, notice. They applied for £2,000 towards encouraging all pupils at school to be involved in Galgan purpose. Now, we decided we would like to be able to award it, but under our standing orders we can't, because the school weren't putting any money towards it themselves. So this isn't on the agenda. I mean, I would like to suggest that we to encourage all schools to take an interest in gardening, we supplied every school pupil within our catchment areas with a bulb to plant in their school at some point. So that way it would be inclusive of all the schools and encourage all children to get involved in this. That's not for here. This is, you know, but that's something I'd like to put to the councillor any time. But anyway, because It was declined because we couldn't accept the grant, much as we would like to have supported it. We weren't able to because it would leave us open to criticism of our own financial standing orders.
Kerry?
Yeah, so just to reiterate what I explained to the committee chair, under the Local Government Act Section 137, we are prohibited from providing direct funding to schools, colleges and universities because their funding for these educational institutions is derived from central government and principal authorities. However, we can make should we reject the application and say the PTA need to submit the application, we can give funding to the community groups, the PTAs of the schools and colleges, as long as the project benefits the local community and is in line with the corporate priorities such as better lives and stronger communities.
Okay, thanks for that, Kerry. We obviously have given grants to schools for environmental stuff in the past as well.
Yeah. Most of the schools, I think.
Most of the schools have taken that up in the past. But okay, so if that, sorry,
I don't think it's, sorry, Chair, I don't think we've been given the grant of 2,000.
I think from memory,
we've given some quite big grants.
Like 1,000 maybe to each school for environmental stuff before.
So just going forward then, all PTAs from all schools in the area, obviously, which we serve, can apply for a grant here.
It's all fairly balanced, to be fair. If you look at all the schools and how much they've all had, it's reasonably similar. You know, there's a couple of maybe St David's probably could apply for a bit more, but I think all the others are fairly similar.
I think there's another little thing to add to it. If you look at the grant application, you know, they quote that it's for compost and other things associated with planting, where you can buy an awful lot of compost for £2,000.
Yeah.
They'll bury themselves in it.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, I suppose the recommendation is for refusal, but we will write to them and state the reason. So, all those in favour of refusing this application? Carried. Is that okay? Yeah. Thanks. Do you want to let them in, Rob? Just give them a knock and leave.
We're done.
It's all about leaving you out there. Okay, back to you, Rob, for the.
Okay, the next one was re-engage grant, application of 500,000.
Whoa!
Towards reducing isolation of elderly people who live alone locally. So we agreed to accept that, and well in favour of, because that is a big problem in our communities, is isolation of older people.
So my first question, it doesn't really say too much on the brief summary here on what the money would be spent on.
Mumbles Methodist Church, from what I, off the top of my head, was it, Dave?
No, it's the Sunday Tea Time Club, Bethany Chapel.
Oh, Bethany Chapel. Sorry.
So, what would it be spent on? Refreshments and
collecting and taking them home.
And they'd reach out past their congregation, or just?
It's nothing to do with the church directly.
The church give venue as a free venue to host it.
Excellent. Okay, that sounds good. Anyway, any other questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's going to pick together on the table?
Volunteers.
The old provider insurance.
I guess the volunteers, but I'm not sure. Okay, so all those in favour of the grants, thank you. Sorry, my brain can't do two things at once. What's this?
It's just that what somebody asked what it was being spent on.
Oh, right, okay. I can't multitask, so let's put that over there.
Anybody wants to?
I can just about single task. Okay, moving on to item number 5, review fees and charges, Ostream Centre and Underhill. So you can see the charges underneath here. It would be handy, Kerry, just to have had the last year's prices and or the percentage increases, I think. next to this, just for transparency. The seniors hire of the pitch, that is that 120?
Yeah.
It is big.
So seniors over 60 type stuff.
Sorry, anyone, non-junior teams, I guess.
Slightly, what are residential teams?
I guess residential teams would mean the home clubs like Newton
I see.
Athletic, Mumbles. One sec. Sorry, Ange. Could you just clarify that current prices, Gary? And then is it 120 an hour or is it?
It's 120 an hour for any resident clubs, and then it's 150 an hour for anybody outside of that for the matches. It's £95 an hour for training sessions or for the full pitch, and for £50 a session for half a training pitch. So basically, we've suggested we keep the prices pretty much the same at Underhill this year, because obviously we've only been in there the last couple of months operating, and then obviously the rest of the fees and charges, I believe we're looking at about roughly £1 increase across each one.
Sorry, Chair.
Just to confirm, then there is no increase really in the AWP for the clubs.
No, there's no increase at all across the AWP. So I said we've only been in there temporarily since August, and then the other fees and charges for the Ostream are looking at an increase of roughly £1 across the board, which I think is just under 5%.
That sounds good.
Yeah, no, two things. One was I think it should declare personal interest with Newton Athletic Football Club, and the second thing was just to confirm if money isn't going up, because already I think they find it hard enough because they're splitting it into as many quarters to get as many teams on there as it is to keep it as low as they can. So putting it up, I think, and other people's payments will go up then potentially. So
so it's something we've got to balance as a council, isn't it? It's the maintenance of the pitch, the facilities, with the not overcharging. It's always going to be a tight route to walk.
Do they have
it's going to see.
So sorry, say that again.
what period of time do they have? What's they paid? 150 an hour?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's already steep compared to other places.
Well, you say that though, but it is 4 times the size, right? Of like my daughter's team, we play Bishopston because we can't actually, ironically, can't get on the Underhill pitch, and that is £80 an hour, but a quarter of the size. So it is you can get a lot more on the Underhill pitch because it's so much bigger.
Yeah, you can. If you're able to fill all the slots on that time, isn't it?
Yeah. But anyway, so it's a tricky one. But okay, so if there's no questions or any opinions, it looks like everything's staying fairly similar, and we're all happy with that, I think. So all those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, Community and Social Committee held on the 19th of November. CCTV Mumbles Skate Park. Do you want me to? Yeah. So there's been a lot of discussions on some unfortunate antisocial behaviour issues at the skate park, some graffiti and also some a couple of assaults and things like that. The recommendation, myself and Kerry met with Swansea Council officers who recommended that we could put like a flight camera up, which doesn't require a huge amount of investment, and it still captures the incidents. The only thing is they do have to be charged up and put back every few months. So the recommendation is that we put one of those up. It obviously act as a deterrent, hopefully, as well as being able to potentially prosecute. If we were to put a proper CCTV system up, we're talking, well, how much are the ones? There's 40 grand. 40 grand for the one that the council paid for up in Bracelet Bay. So again, we've got to weigh up the our budgets, obviously. We did request that one for Langland and one for the skate park while we were in the meeting, so it's on the council's radar if funding ever becomes available for them. But for now, as a deterrent and as hopefully something we can move the pole, which is the pole in Underhill Playground, the poles are quite expensive. The Swansea Council said they'd move that for a fee, put it in the skate park, because the one at Underhill's not. Well, it's surplus to requirements. So we can move that pole down there, and it folds down, so you can charge your camera and put it back up. There's up to £1,000 in here. It shouldn't cost anywhere near that, but you know, things sometimes cost more than you think. Carrie?
Yeah, where is it being vired from? It doesn't say.
Do you
Is this an underspend in another budget heading for the committee?
I'll just ask
I
that.
think it could come possibly from community and social, because we're well in the green.
Right, so it's just coming from another budget within the.
Understanding community.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so we'll have to amend that for underspend environment from community and social. but
Yeah.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Thank you.
Oh, Sarah, sorry.
Yeah, just while we're on the skate park, when will they be resealing the bowl? Because supposedly it's getting to a really bad state.
I have no idea,
Yeah.
and I don't really want to talk about that now in this agenda item, because if we go there, we'll be half an hour talking about that, I'm sure.
Need to get it done.
Yeah, I think if we pick that up, you know, off with the chief officer, please, Pam.
Where in the community budget, community and social budget, are we finding £1,000? And is that item on next year's budget, and should we be taking that out if we're not spending it? Does that make sense?
Well, we've got, sorry.
I think it could probably come out of the, the maintenance
Maintenance of what?
of the skate park,
Oh, right, okay.
because the more control we have of the skate park, the lower will be the running cost on the maintenance side of things. You know, we've already agreed to spend £2,000, £2,000 to clean off some of the graffiti and tags. So,
We made it
I did.
grass cutting. and
Sorry?
things like that. We made it be grass cutting and things like that.
I think it covers.
well,
broad.
there is a maintenance cost for the cutting of the grass, and that's paid to setting.
Okay, so I think we'll, if we push ahead, and I think that makes sense, to be honest, we'll, thanks for bringing it up, Carrie, we'll, via the amount from the maintenance budget of community.
Yeah, I'll speak to the RFO about it, and then I can come back to council with the.
I don't think we need to, I think we can do that now. Before I say that, let me just double check with Carrie, if we can do that. 1 second. Gary, did you hear that? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so obviously you can agree to via from the budget, underspending community and social, and then just for further transparency, we will confirm where the underspend is coming from and where the environment is taking place from in turn, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
I want to say this in the previous meeting. Some of the graffiti at the skate park. Noticed the exact same graffiti in other parts of Mumbles, especially one area where there was a CCTV camera. So how can I vaguely mention that to people? It could be, there could be video evidence of whoever did that.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll take that up. If you have that information, just email the PCSO. I'm sure that'll be the best course for that. Okay, Sarah.
I'm going to be.
I hope it's not about CCTV.
No, it's maintenance budget.
Okay.
Will we still have enough money to put the sealant on the bowl? Because I am being nagged, sent by skateboarders about it.
Okay.
Can I?
All right, we'll talk about that very briefly. Carrie, could you confirm that if we via from the maintenance budget £1,000, that we still got enough money to put the seal on the bowl?
How much is the ceiling on the bowl, do we know?
Is it not part of a programme? Has it been
When was it done last?
Has it been?
When it was created.
So
It's had a treatment since it was.
Has it?
Oh, I don't think so. I haven't had it.
right, can I just
Correct me if
stop
I'm
everyone that? Right, can we take this up separately because it sounds a bit more complicated than.
Yeah.
So if you can bring this up, and if it's not budgeted for, then you need to.
I think that's more because it is actually going to
Okay,
fall
let's-
apart otherwise.
All right, let's look into that with haste.
First I've heard of it, hasn't come to community and social this, and I don't think it's even gone to the clerk.
Okay, we'll put it on the.
I think that was funded by the skate park themselves, the
The last one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the last one was.
That was right. Yeah.
Okay, so if you speak to them and find out, and then put a proposal forward, that's fine. All right, so all those in favour of the environment for the £1,000 for the
Yes.
CCTV?
Up to £1,000?
Up to, sorry.
Up to, yeah.
To £1,000. Thank you. Okay, Environmental Committee held on 25th of November, recommendation Castle Woods. Carrie, would you like to, oh, sorry.
No, it's carried, but now that I've got the floor, I just want to apologise because I was telling you that I was literally about to join that meeting and then the committee meeting, and then about 2 days later, I thought, shit, I didn't come. Sorry,
Children what? Children what?
That was.
Before Carrie starts, there is cabinet involvement, obviously, in the decisions around the community investment. I don't personally have any involvement to date, but just to dot all the i's. Gonna go.
Yeah, no problem. I understand. Speak to this, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that there's no requirement for any of you to leave because you're not involved in this decision.
That's correct.
No, so it's only just for cabinet, right?
It's cabinet decision.
Just don't want to end up with it being bounced back yet again.
No.
This is something that Will actually probably knows more about than I do. But what has happened is that this is the grant funding for the Castle Woods paths. The officer has now come back and said that they need an additional £5,000 to be made available for contingency fund rather than contingency fund, although contingency fund sounds much better. We discussed this, and what we suggested was that perhaps I have already contributed £4,000 from my saved up councillor allowances, and we were going to suggest that the other Oystermouth councillors might want to contribute towards this. It's a contingency and therefore quite possibly will never be needed. But they need to show that we have it available if required. Now, rather than it all coming from contingency, what was requested by the committee was that we first ask if other Oystermouth councillors, both city and community, would be prepared to contribute something towards that. So that's the first thing that
Okay, I think
needs to be done.
don't really know if I want to put people on the spot in a meeting like that because
Yeah, I did. It has been raised, and I did ask for it to be an email to be sent out asking.
Okay, so Francesca, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not prepared to make a decision on the spot because we've already got stuff in the pipeline with our city budget. I believe we've already contributed from our budget already towards that. I just find it very interesting when the shoe was on the other foot back at the beginning of the year, when I came to this committee asking for additional money and I was dragged over the coals for 3 months, and you're doing the exact same thing, but I'm going to afford you the opportunity that you didn't give me, and I would like to get this sorted because I think for the benefit of this community, this is a really worthwhile project. So I would be happy to support in some way, but I'm not going to make that decision or contribute to that figure tonight.
Okay, which I think is fair enough. Have you received the email on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I don't really. Okay, so we've obviously got a budget setting next week.
I'll put my hand up. I was asked to send the email and it is on my list to do, and I haven't unfortunately sent the email as yet, so I will take the responsibility for not sending that email to councillors, so I do apologise.
Okay, thanks, Kerry. And
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Francesca?
With the greatest respect, Clark's got a lot of pressure on. We're all councillors, we're all serving the community. I don't see what the problem is. If somebody's leading on this project, whoever it is, just pop us an email.
Councillor Thomas is leading on it.
You're speaking about it with, or
Well, because it came to, he asked me to raise it at the environment. So it's no point in getting into a silly argument.
I'm not.
All right, guys, thank you.
We are helping.
Thank you. I think it's a bit of a stretch to say.
So, you know.
I think it's a bit of a, I mean, that's both of you, please. I think it's a bit of a stretch to say it's a work project. We've both been working on it
Yeah,
together.
it's jointly, so we are equally,
Yes, there we are.
Will is dealing with the city funding, I'm dealing with the
Yeah, I
MCC
think
funding.
what's missing off here, Kerry, if unfortunately, I think we're gonna have to pick this up next month, but the big issue from Swansea's point of view is the maintenance requirement, and there's nothing in here.
I did ask you to speak, you were going to speak to Rebecca because they have done the self-same thing for Washing House Brook. And I messaged you and you said you would speak to her.
I haven't spoken to them.
Ah, right.
What it could, Sarah,
Same problem is they're saying that we need to,
but have you got a solution?
I think it's a matter of looking at making sure that whatever goes in is the same,
yeah, and.
you know, so
The last
that they're
time it
not
was
playing
done
one off against the
years
other.
ago, So I think it's a bit silly really,
Mm.
but I don't know quite how we're gonna get around it, but.
Right, okay, so it, unfortunately, it's a bit more complex. Let's set up a meeting and we can, you know, do.
Yeah, because it needs to be done across the two,
Across the two
across the two
projects.
projects,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so unfortunately, I think we'll defer this if everyone's.
Well, yeah, can we at least get a provisional agreement that if there is no money made available from elsewhere, that we will be able to provide the £5,000 from contingency?
But you said it's a contingency, it's not.
Yeah, it may well never be used.
But it might be.
My understanding from Paul is that they don't ask for it up front. So it's not like we've got to hand it over and then fight to get it back off them. They will only ask for it if it is needed.
Kerry, do you have our contingency figure, live contingency figure on you to hand? While you're looking for that, I'll bring Helen in.
I was just going to say, I think we should make that decision just to underwrite the project.
Yeah.
Even if it's not to spend in the Environment Committee or other places, because I think you're all working really hard to get this done. So I just feel we should make that
Get it
decision.
over the line, yeah.
It's been one thing.
Timeline are we working to?
There is no timeline yet.
Well, put it in the budget.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring it up.
But it's going to take it through to get next year. We're talking about, you know, we want to try and get this work done before the summer season, not waiting till April.
Okay, let's just see if Kerry's got any information for us on.
Yeah, bear with me 1 second, please.
Yeah, no problem.
5 years.
5 years. I certainly haven't been involved with it for 5
No,
years.
but that's when it
Maybe
first
6
came to
months.
council. No, it came to full council 5 years ago.
Well, like, as soon as you contacted me, it started to move, didn't it? So, you know.
Do you have more access to funding than the community council were prepared to give?
70-30 as well.
Yes, exactly.
Right, the contingency at the moment, currently has 28,400 in there at the moment, which we haven't actually got anything.
That's quite tight, isn't it, till March.
So it's particularly for anything, there's nothing identified.
That's what, yeah, that's what a contingency is for, is it? That's till March.
That's till the end of March, and there's nothing being allocated against it so far.
Okay, well,
Vote it through, we'll take that.
that's true. That is true.
He's gone.
Yeah, but that's it.
Well, I guess.
People have been on this project, not me, I didn't touch it with Bashful. The different councillors at county and our level have been working on this project for a long time, trying to get it. Let's just give them a help to get it over the line. Let's just get it done.
As a suggestion, because we don't have a timescale for this yet, leaving until after Christmas to decide on when we have more idea of what funding is coming in, would have a better idea of.
Yeah, the trouble with that, and it sounds sensible, but they want to see our readies, our pan to know that we've got before they even start.
So
It needs to be minuted
Yeah.
in
So-
minutes.
right, it's a very, here's the proposal, okay? So if we were to take it for contingency, as Carrie said, it's very unlikely, extremely unlikely that we pay before March, okay? So although we would be putting it aside to that project, if, for example, another project, an emergency came up, we could then fire it back, right? So it's mainly an accounting exercise. I think, as long as Kerry can confirm and I'm not. Yeah.
And we can send it to
Yeah.
the officers and show that it's been.
Yeah. So Kerry, just with that in mind, just if we were to account for this from contingency, and if another pressure came up on the council, which is unforeseen, that we wanted to move it back, that's totally within our rights, isn't it? Can I just confirm?
Yeah, so what you would do is obviously minute that you're going to, you're, sorry, I can't speak. You've got the approval from the contingency for this project, and then if another incident occurred that we would have to look at what was in contingency and the other reserves, and obviously we would need to then obviously decide whether we decide to read the money back in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so we can do that. That's great. Thanks, Francesca.
Yeah, I think it's only from the councillors from Swansea City. If you've put from your budget, they do take that out because that's gone out of my budget already. But from MCC, I don't believe from my budget in the bowls, I don't think they've asked for any money being transferred. So you've got to
Great. Okay, so all those in favour of firing £5,000 from contingency towards the Castlewoods paths. Okay, that's unanimous. Okay.
Sure. Please, Chair, just to clarify, there'll be a separate meeting in relation to the
yeah, with anyone from Oystermouth and want to attend, really.
Yeah.
Rob, do you want to let them know? Come back in, thanks. Thanks. Right, there's no recommendations from Culture and Tourism, so back to agenda item 9. So there's a couple of new policies that have here. I'm sure everyone's
it's appropriate to say, but there's no specific agenda item for the chairs of the individual committee. So I've added Carrie's reports with the committee recommendations. That seemed the most appropriate place to put it.
Okay, that's fine. So is that online, or do you want to talk to that, Carrie?
Yep, okay, I will quickly, yes, it is online, it's in the program along with everything else. We'll just very briefly go through. What we covered in the meeting, we are looking at for a time in the future, potentially looking at whether it might be possible to actually provide some sort of bike repair station on the prom in the sort of vicinity of where the current bike hub is. This is an idea that's brought from Wheelwright, which is the local cycling organisation. They are planning to look at grant potential to do this. They really just wanted to talk to us about whether we would support it. And I felt that it was something we felt as a committee that would be really useful. And we also suggested that the repairs could be extended to skateboards and scooters, and that perhaps once a month or so they could go up to the skate park and do repairs and show people how to fix their scooters and their skateboards. So we just felt it was brilliant. It's a mix of fixing bikes, but also teaching people how to look after their own bikes and other wheeled implements or whatever. But yes, that's right.
Ian.
Okay.
Wasn't this facility afforded at Ripples Cafe
That's slightly different. That is just a very small DIY stand. We're talking about a container that would, you know, yes.
Would we require planning for that?
We wouldn't know because we are not putting it up. We have just been asked to support wheelwrights. And we suggested that that might be a good place for it because you've already got a covered bike shelter, you've got the university bike hub, you know, and it's right in the middle of Mumbles, so it's an ideal location. But that would be for them to make those approaches in terms of you know, getting agreement from Swansea Council to put it there.
Do you want to come back again then?
Well, I think we have to be a wee bit careful here because there's approaches been made about the Harry Libby structure, and there was great concern about it going near or on the promenade. And now we're talking about putting a shed there.
I don't think the two are connected, sorry. Anyway, it's not a recommendation. I am just reading my report.
Okay, thanks.
After what has been said.
They have to liaise with Swansea Council. See, they give us a lot more information in the future, yeah? Okay, great.
Okay, bulb planting. Ash reported that most of the bulbs for Males, Oystermouth and West Cross had now been planted. New councillors had not suggested any areas for planting, so he was going to have a look and just see where but he felt they were most appropriately to be put. He also reported that the guttering in Jubilee Garden has now been repaired. Unfortunately, it had been pulled down by someone. He had a look and it was definitely vandalism rather than it just fell down. So he's going to keep an eye out for that, just to make sure it doesn't happen again. The picnic tables have now been located. They are scattered in interesting directions, but they have been located, and it's, I know Kerry is liaising with David Price Deer regarding getting them collected and relocated to the agreed locations.
Do you know who took them?
They've just been kind of moved, I think, by who knows. I mean, some of them are in one half of Southend Garden, and some are in the other half, and some are in a car park. So, you know, who knows? And we have lost three completely.
Somebody's gone.
Yeah, they've just disappeared, and we know not where. But we can account for 17 of them anyway. Okay, Buzz and Bloom, the awards evening was extremely successful, and you know, everybody really enjoyed coming along. People enjoyed hearing about other people's gardens, and we gave them information about the 2026 Buzz and Bloom, and we will be launching that after Christmas so that people have plenty of time for the lead-in. So as soon as they start planting, they can be taking photographs of how everything works. And finally, Mumbles Repair Cafe. We have now held 2 repair cafes at Underhill Hub, and they have proved extremely popular. And lots of nice things have been fixed. Clocks seem to be a big thing in Mumbles, I think because we no longer have our clock repairers, and I would say the majority of repairs that were done were to clocks. But also bicycles, a wheelchair, an electric blanket, another blanket that needed mending, so loads of different things. So as of the 9th of January, we are going to be holding them every month on the 2nd Friday of the month. So please make sure you tell everyone. Hannah will be doing some publicity for it, getting some posters out, but it's just good. We have it on the same day every month. People get to know when it's going to be on, and they can obviously be bringing their things along to get fixed. Underhill Hub. Yeah, 10 till 1 on the 2nd Friday of the month. Yeah, and just to say, we have no volunteering events because obviously until the new EO is in post, we don't have anyone to organise.
Okay, thanks. Rob,
Right.
question?
Yeah, just would it be possible for the repair cafe to include toasters?
No.
Oh,
Why is
Don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
Sent out in advance.
Toast, metals, Orion, they're sealed units, they're impossible to repair.
Well, they're not impossible.
It would be against them.
All right.
Probably illegal if they're pat tested.
Okay, all right, thanks. Just one thing, I'm just going to suggest that we move the Harry Libby up because these policy documents might take a bit of time. Everyone's very patiently to.
It's very interesting.
Well, when you hear about our social media policy, then you'll it's some good bedtime reading. So it's all
Just
you are.
It says here, members, community council and.
Can we talk about that after, man?
I don't know which committee to ask, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
How do we have?
Yeah. Let's talk about things like that after the meeting. Okay. Right. Where was I? So move. Just get you. Welcome. Yes. Thank you. Moving item 10 up. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So the Harry Libby plinth. One of our constituents, I won't mention his name on camera, but is campaigned, rightfully so, for the protection of the Harry Libby plinth, which has been at near Verdi's for 50, I can't remember how many years, a long time. Harry Libby was the old councillor for Mumbles. There's an interesting video I'd encourage anyone to watch on YouTube, actually. It gives a good background and some information online. Anyway, Swansea Council, when they were refurbishing the promenade, they put the plinth into storage, and when it was time to put it back, I suppose, it was deemed that it wasn't in good enough condition to put back. It's not. They said it wasn't safe and it doesn't look great. So the community council has made the decision to look after it. And what there's not really any proposal here. So this is a discussion that's I've just asked to be put on the agenda, really. So there is no proposal. It's open discussion. But what I was going to propose is that we ask our local history experts, the Story of Mumbles, to oversee the group, and sorry, OHA, they're more than happy to get involved, I'm sure. But obviously, Story of Mumbles is more of a link with the community council. That's why I recommended that, so that they can come up with a plan for a tribute to Harry Libby and replace the plinth, whether that be refurbishing what's already there, or whether that be a new feature. Thank you. That is proposed for them to decide. So that was all I wanted to say on it, really, and just open it up for discussion. So if anyone else to say anything.
Maybe cheaper to just get a new one if that finishes right.
That's definitely an option, and I think the only reason I recommended that other people made that decision is because we've got OHA and Story of Mumbles who are best placed to come up with ideas, maybe and tributes for that. But that's just my opinion. So
not then say we will pass it on to them and for them to discuss. It doesn't seem much point in us having that conversation here. They know far more about it than we do.
Exactly. That's exactly the proposal. Yeah. So
Is it?
sorry, yeah.
So we're voting to support that the Story of Mumbles agree to do what they wish to do with it.
Well, I think they come back with a proposal. It's bound to come with some costs, I guess, right? So they would come back and say, we think we should do this, and here is the cost element, and then we can discuss that further. Ian?
I was just going to say, there's the City Hall title to the promenade, and that's where it was previously, and there has been discussion on it not being replaced on the promenade. So I wouldn't advocate going out and spending too much money to decide what you're going to have if it can't go where it was supposed to go.
Francesca?
I suppose it depends what the Story Mumbles come back with. What they might do is do half and half, and if it's presentable to go back, then why not? And I'm sure we can lobby on behalf of the residents to get it back on the front.
Okay.
Yes, I just wondered, we should be open-minded about future locations, because there might be alternative locations, like near, some remembrance areas, because it links with our story. So, I think it's a great story, isn't it? I think we just need to be open-minded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if anyone does want to get involved with the conversation with them, I'm sure they'd be open to that. Anyone else got any opinions or comments? So, Kerry, go on.
So just to let you know, it's in storage at the moment with Knights Brown, and there has been discussion because we do need to move it out of storage, so it is being moved this week into Norton Nature Reserve. Bev from Stories and Mumbles has been liaising with Ashley on the project, and this has been something that's been ongoing for quite some time before the involvement of previous people, as aforementioned.
We've got no recommendation on them.
You're on mute.
Thanks. Ian, if we could put it on the agenda for next month and, providing the vote passes now, put it on the agenda for next month and ask the Story of Mumbles to come back to us, ask their opinion, if they want to contact all the councillors just to ask if they've got any opinions, and OHA as well, if they've got any opinion on what they want to do with that. So all those in favour of...
There's not actually a
I was about to say.
recommendation to vote on.
No, but we can make alterations.
Yeah.
It's
not.
I think you've got
Not on the agenda.
All right, consensus, we'll do that. Yeah, we don't need to vote on it then. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. Yeah, yes.
If you tell them that we are quite open to moving it, then it might widen what they say that they would like. They might want something bigger, or no, that's not so. But if we say that we're open to moving it and putting it in a different location, it might widen their perspective on what they recommend.
I think at the same time, you don't want to tell them it can stay. I think just let them wild, yeah. But you could email them and suggest that it could go anywhere if you. I will. Okay, afterwards. Item number 11. Oh no, sorry, we're going back to. One of the volunteers, Story Mumbles. So, social media policy, Mumbles Community Council to consider the following policies. Social media big expert. So, Angela.
Sorry, social media policy 6.2. 1, 2, 3. Must not publicly criticise officers or bring the council into dispute. Could we add publicly criticise officers or fellow councillors?
So where are you?
Good question. I don't.
You have 6 point what?
6.2. What councillors should do, like we must not do, we must do this.
Or bring the council into dispute.
If we could just go through chat, Rebecca.
It was 87 points, so I don't know whether you want.
I don't think you can. I mean,
it depends what you mean by criticise others. So this is
if we can take it in turns, because this could turn into a real yes, it could. But let's all try and just.
Chair, sorry, we're really struggling to hear what's being said when multiple people are speaking because it just completely cuts off the sound. So we're only getting snippets of what is being said. So I know you've just asked everybody to do one at a time, but can I just say from our perspective online, please, can you just do one at a time so we can keep up with the conversation? Thank you.
Rebecca.
So my question was, if you want to just take these in a random order. So In previous discussions about MCC's social media policy, there has been a conversation around whether it is appropriate to have counsellors in our imagery. And there certainly was a time in my memory where the council policy was that we did not do that. There was a blanket, no councillors of any representation at all. And I personally felt that that lost our communications quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that given that the 6.3 says that employees must maintain confidentiality and impartiality, and it will be employees who are responsible for posting from the Mumbles Community Council accounts, I think it would be appropriate that we just, it's not in black and white either way in this document that I can see. I think it would be appropriate that we acknowledge that we do expect that there will be councillors included in our imagery, but that the impartiality that is required of employees means that they will be from a range of parties, from a range of boards, from a range of committees, from all of these things are equally represented. And I do think it's important, given that the aims are to include, communicating what we do, so that Mumbles Community Council does all that it does without there being a
councillor.
I just think is a bit of a nonsense. So I just wanted to put that on the table, really.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to see a councillor smiling in front of a
Well, the
Parliament?
robot, yeah.
I mean, anyway, okay. Right. Anyone? Yeah, sorry, Zara.
Just to say, you saying, Angela, I can see it with staff. You shouldn't, because it's like punching down, isn't it? We employ them. We should not be bad-mouthing them in public or whatever else. But although we shouldn't be bad-mouthing each other, it is democracy, and we are going to fall out about things. And this is my view. That's your view. It would be odd for us not to.
I agree. It's freedom of speech to some degree as well. Martin.
Yeah, I was just going to say in relation to that point, that I think that should be covered by our code of conduct.
That's true.
In as much as the way that you talk about another councillor should be respected.
I think that's my point. I think I understand actually what Sarah's saying, and there will be disagreements, and naturally that will happen, and that's fine. But I think maybe liking comments or stuff that's online that is like not very nice or really hate, but is not nice, or somebody swearing and calling somebody something really bad, and then people are liking that's not right. That's not okay. It's banned by councillors, that are in this room.
Okay, we're out of time, remember. Martin?
Yeah, I was just going to come back on that. I really think that should be covered by the code of conduct. The issue, the point that you're making, which I very much take on board, and I very much agree that, councillors should always treat each other with respect, right? But the issue that we got with what you're suggesting is going to be interpretation.
Yeah, I understand.
And all I'm sort of saying, if it comes to an issue like that, where a councillor has liked something which is blatantly disrespectful or can be interpreted as disrespectful, then that should be treated as a code of conduct.
And I guess arguably in the 0.8, the general rules, it does actually state there not to post abusive, etc. Not to engage in arguments.
Okay, Kerry?
On mute.
I know, I just figured that I'm shouting at you like you're on mute, and I'm on mute myself. Just wanted to thank Martin for raising the point of obviously saying it's in the code of conduct. Code of conduct is a point that's there. And another thing, just to reiterate, all councillors are actually accountable to the 7 Nolan principles as well, which obviously say about integrity, openness, and accountability. So if a councillor does like or post a comment that falls into the category that Angela has just suggested, then obviously the code of conduct and the Nolan principles uphold that you shouldn't be doing that, if that makes sense.
Sorry, if I come back to it. So this policy that we have in front of us today, that we are being asked to approve, does not mention the issue I have raised, by the way. I interpret it, given that staff struck with impartiality, that they can post pictures that have us in them, provided in the course of, there's various different groups being represented.
I do think this is an important issue.
It is an important issue. think we would have cause to come back to this policy if, for example, there was only one ward and one party being represented in all of our social media.
Yeah.
Another councillor, different party or a different ward would have very reasonable use of this policy, I think, to point that out. It's not being in keeping with our policy, but it's because it's not mentioned explicitly. I wanted to mention it explicitly so that we have agreement in this room of what we mean.
100%, because can I add to that? I think lots of members of the community think it's bizarre that I take photos of events that I arrange, I'm not, and then I have to edit myself.
Yes.
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 They, you know, so I'll say to like, actually, I can't use that one because I'm in it, don't use that one, I'm in it. And I've organised the event. So most people think that's kind of bizarre, yeah.
Terry?
Yeah, I was just going to say, under point 7 of the policy, is it that you're suggesting an amendment is made to say that officers of the council can post pictures, including members of the council for work they have done. You could agree to limit it to so many posts per ward, so it covers the ward councillors, and also put in there that obviously when we're in the pre-election period, there will be obviously consideration will be given, because we cannot be seen to be promoting any political party as a council during the pre-election period.
Or any person or independent as well. Carrie?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know quite the wording, I haven't thought about it, but I think we need to recognise, as Helen said, when we are doing something on behalf of the community council, then I think it is perfectly legitimate for us to be included in the role that we are doing. What is not acceptable is just taking pictures of people talking about something or whatever. If we're, you know, a family fun day or after-thon, you know, that we are actually helping at. We're not just wandering in and having our picture taken and walking out again. We're actually actively engaged in working at that event. Then I think it's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, only to add, I suppose, maybe naively, but it's not necessarily political gain. It's just to be there sometimes as an ambassador of MCC. So, yeah.
Okay, I think that's covered. Rob, did you want to come in?
Yeah, I'd like some clarification on the difference on what is being said here. We can post, as many of us have councillor pages and our own personal accounts as well. So what, some clarification between the distinguishing between the two.
I think if I could just speak, Kerry, if you could pick up after me, but I think there's some sort of corporate responsibility as a councillor that you have for MCC and the staff, right? That
it's item 11. It's all itemised.
That's why I'm asking for clarification.
Yeah. But all right, what is it? The clarification.
There's things when you go back on legislative and governance framework. Now, obviously, we're not expected to include all that with our personal accounts.
I don't think this is just MCC's policy.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
It covers our own accounts quite explicitly.
Yes, it does.
I'm just so I can get a clear picture in my head of what. So, you know, our personal pages are our own personal pages to post our own views.
So you mean you could say things on your personal accounts that you wouldn't be allowed to say on a council's account and get away with it?
Within reason.
I didn't mean to say get away with it, and wouldn't be challenged on it under the code of
But you
conduct.
probably wouldn't wish to post on your council account.
I don't do social media, so I'm making sense as to go along. So you have a personal account which is not to be challengeable, and it would be challengeable. Seems to be the person who's talking about here.
If people don't mind me coming in, I was going to say, you will still be covered, and it is in here, you are still covered by the code of conduct.
Yeah.
It's the same as if you're walking down the street in Mumbles, or whatever. People know that you're a councillor, and you got to behave. Right?
The issue I can see personally, but I don't see how we can get round this. What I find happens on social media, you've got a personal account, but people know you're a councillor and contact you about council issues on your personal account. But there's not a lot you can do about that. But I do sort of think if people use just a bit of common sense, stick to the code of conduct.
The reason for me asking, Will, is because, we are councillors and therefore we are prone to, let's say, abuse from residents at times. But we are allowed to defend ourselves because we are still human beings with feelings, and we're allowed to challenge the public on their behaviour.
Within the code of conduct.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because coming under public participation, that's a point that I will be making, so keep that in your head.
Yeah, Rebecca, go on, comment.
Yeah, sorry, this has just sparked another couple of other thoughts in my mind. So one thing that I find intensely frustrating is that residents use social media to report an issue and they think it's related.
Yeah.
And it's actioned.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to put something in.
Yeah.
Even messaging the MCC account, put it in writing by email, phone the office. And if you have tagged Monmouth Community Council, that will not be monitored.
That's a good point.
I don't think we necessarily speak for every single councillor on how they run their their councillor pages. But certainly, if you've tagged, I'll say now, if you've tagged Councillor Rebecca Fogarty, that does not mean you've reported to them.
Yeah.
When we want to make changes like this, is it okay do we have to, will these get picked up by Ian, for example, and or do we have to vote for amendments, or?
I couldn't hear what was being said because there was more than one person speaking. So again, it was in and out. So I don't know what the amendments were that were being suggested. So you can list the amendments now that you want making to the policy. Ian can capture them. I can amend them, and then you can approve the policy on the basis of including those amendments. Or you can say you want the policy to go back through another working group, and it comes back to the committee comes back to council with the amendments in to be approved at a later council meeting.
I personally don't think there's any need for that. We just ask Ian to note down those few points if everyone's all right with that.
Yeah.
Do you cover them, or do you want Rebecca to go over them again?
It's mainly the photographs.
Tagging. Yeah, photographs, tagging. Anywhere other?
I was just going to point out that, yes, we get a lot of abuse on our, but you've got to be careful how you respond. You can't respond like you could as a private citizen. You can block people. That's about the best if it gets to that point that it's keeping you awake at night, block them. But you really have to be, whenever we retaliate as MCC, even if we're not.
Okay.
If we're doing it personally.
That's great. Yeah. Okay. So with those 2 points, which we just mentioned to Ian, added to the policy, all those in favour with support. Okay, thank you. Moving on to the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Monmouth Community Council policy. Any kick us off? Any opinions?
Well, I was on the working group, so I've already made my passed my views on.
Can I just ask where these recommendations have come from?
To have the recommendations for the policies?
All these policies.
I think it's something the chief officer thought that we should have, and I think it's right that we have it. They went to the working group, and then Kerry, do you want to come in?
When did the working group meet? Because I'm on that.
Yeah. Right, so the working group is not a constituted group, so there was a date that was suggested for all councillors to meet. So in order to get these policies through, although you couldn't attend, the rest of the working group could, so the working group went ahead with the meeting. There is a requirement of council to have a suite of policies, which there is about 60 policies all in all that we need to have. I'm happy to circulate that requirement around to council, and it also forms part of my SILCA qualification that I have to be able to evidence to SILCA that I have drafted policies that have been accepted by council, and my deadline for completing my SILCA is looming in the early of next year. So we really do need to get all our policies kind of approved in the next couple of months.
aware that there was, this meeting had gone ahead.
Okay, Rebecca?
Yeah, just conscious as well that funders ask for a set of policies, of which equality, diversity and inclusion is normally one.
Definitely.
This looks to me like it's based off of a model policy, then you will see a similar version of across organisations, big and small.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
Are we all sure we know what we're talking about when we're looking at?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, okay. All those in favour of supporting the policy? Okay, that's covered. Public participation policy, London Community Council. Right, does anyone else want to speak to this? There's just one thing. Okay, Pam?
I'm bringing it up here because, and I'm perplexed by this, I don't know which way to go with it. In our last community social meeting, we had a member of the public who came in and he picks up the point that Rob's been making on Rebecca. And it seemed that the sole purpose of that public participation was just to, can't use that word,
Harass.
pillory two members of this council. While in the restaurant, I thought the best policy for myself was to shut up and let it roll, which I did. But for example, in that tirade, it was there are no bulbs being planted in West Cross and they say there's no money, so I'm going out there and planting them myself. And I didn't know enough about it at the time. And I found out since there are hundreds of bulbs being planted in West Cross and hundreds more are going in. But the point is, do we allow members of the public the space to come in here just to continue what they're doing online, which is targeting members of Mumbles Community Council and talk and talk and challenge, even though we think what they're saying is wrong. And it was literally wrong. I just sat here and thought the best policy is just shut up and let it roll. And that's what we did as a committee. But how can we handle that in future? Because it was abusive, it was targeted, and I think everybody thought people say, oh, we're very sorry and can we help and da 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 da. But it was giving that person's the publicity they wanted that they got online as well. And I really don't know where to go with this.
Okay, I can see lots of hands up, so we'll try and keep our points short if we can. Francesca?
That would be, and I think I did speak to the clerk on this about a fictitious policy. So if a councillor or councillors are being targeted, that should be a policy. I appreciate Kerry's probably been up to her eyeballs with all this, but something like that should be included for protection of councillors. But that's notwithstanding freedom of speech. But we do need something in place for councillors' protection. Yes.
Would it be for councillors or would you target the chairs of those committees and give them?
No, it should be for all councillors. If they can't councillor, if for example a councillor is having there's clear evidence that a member of the public has got a vendetta against them, then that does need to be covered by a policy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just sort of that really, as in I think if somebody's gone on a witch hunt for one particular person, I think they should be protected to a certain degree and not, doors wide open for people to just come in, say and do as they wish. But obviously understanding that, they have a right to come in, but they have a way that they have to behave also. And
okay, we'll go around the room, Kerry. I know you saw your hand up, but we'll go around the room first, Rob.
Okay, I remember the meeting Pam is referring to where that person didn't actually contribute in the allotted time for public participation, just shouted out from the screen. Now,
no, different came into a meeting and sat.
Okay.
But that is the person.
We're community councillors, but we've seen the rise in what's happening. Politics has become so polarised, and the public can stir up, or one member of the public can stir up so much hatred these days that we've seen what's happened to Joe Cox and we've seen what's happened to David Amos. We need to be protected from this sort of stuff. Now, I would suggest that any known person who makes a habit of this is barred from coming to the meeting. Or if they shout out, there is instantly, from a screen, they're instantly kicked off. That's what I'd like amended on.
I'm sure Kerry will give us some information at the end of once we go around. Rebecca?
So notwithstanding everything that's just been said, I think there's another scenario in which this policy doesn't quite work, which is when you've got members of the public coming with an idea. So so in City, the public participation at council and cabinet meetings is you have to ask a question first of all. You can't just talk for 3 minutes, and it has to be on something which is on the agenda, which is in ours. But the question, you can obviously wrap that up in your opinion, right, and like put forward some evidence and then end it with a question. But it does just mean that intervention from a member of the public is just that little bit more focused. And I think in this scenario that I'm considering, where a member of the public comes with what might be a very good idea, what tends to happen then is that the public participation becomes like 4 councillors asking this person questions. Oh, have you considered this? What about that? We could do this together, couldn't we? And it becomes a working group. And if we were a bit more prescriptive about the fact it has to be a question, then what the person would need to say is, we're here from such and such a group, we've acknowledged this in the community, what do you think about X? And the policy says we don't even have to respond, but it's that way of like putting it in to the thinking for it to be then taken offline into a working group. I don't want to restrict too much what people are able to say in meetings, because I do really think that public participation is really important, but it just needs a bit of focus.
I've got something similar, but I do think, though, I don't like the idea of people turning up on the day and being able to say what they want, which isn't on the agenda. But
3 days in advance.
yeah. But that's on the agenda. That's what's on the agenda. That's what I mean. That they still have to. What my point was going to be was, if something wasn't on the agenda, but you wanted to discuss it or you wanted to ask a question, I personally think that's fine. But you have to give maybe a week's notice so that people could have the resources to to answer that question. Otherwise, how are the community able to voice their opinions? That was my only thing. Come back quickly and then we'll.
The other way you could do that procedurally is, I think what's happened with the wheelwrights example that you just gave is that they gave enough notice that the chair could put it on the agenda.
Yes.
So it was on the agenda and then they were able to speak, but that was actually
to speak.
But it was a great example of where, because it was an idea where we all then sparked off and thought, what about this, what about that? It became a big discussion. So yeah, I think it's.
So maybe committee is the best place for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is a difference between committees and full council, and I say in this, we had been approached in advance, and it was actually, we invited them to present to that agenda item, and therefore it wasn't just someone coming in and asking a question. It was actually they were responding to an invitation.
So it'd be more than a week then, I guess, for the agenda, wouldn't it?
Yeah, which is perhaps it's slightly different. I think what we're looking at here is, people just turning up to talk about a particular agenda item, not asking for something to be discussed on the agenda.
Sarah?
Yeah, I think with the situation we had at the last of the community and social, it would be better if the chair just shuts them down if they start to get aggressive, or ask for the recording at least to go off. So whatever they're saying isn't going to be recorded and go out. They can always find out what they're going to say then and, warn them. I know it's a very thin line. You've got the democracy and freedom of speech, but on the other hand, you've got people who are determined. They don't care really about what they're talking about there.
Okay, so let's try and make some progress. Did you want to speak, Martin?
Well, I was just going to say, we've got to remember we're governed by a code of conduct. The public aren't governed by a code of conduct. It is a tricky line. I think exactly what it's a tricky line. We've got to give people freedom of speech to come in, but then again, if they're being abusive, I do think we have got safeguards within this, that if they are being abusive, and also, as the Ombudsman says, community councillors and councillors have got to have a bit of a thick skin because of the job that they're doing. I know we're not here to be abused, but at the same time, I think we've got to be careful that we don't end up shutting free speech down just because we get a bit of.
Can I quickly?
Very quickly.
The point is, they were actually not telling the truth either.
Well, there's nothing we can do with it. There's nothing we can do with it.
Rob, Sarah, I totally understand what you're saying about shutting the recording down. But if you don't shut it down, you have evidence of their behaviour, and that protects us then.
Yeah.
If they're spreading lies, if there's going to be a police
Only if the lights.
complaint against them.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna bring Kerry in now just quickly.
Right, just a couple of things to back up of you all. First of all, public participation is now a legal requirement after the Local Government Elections Act Wales 2021 was passed. The public have the right to speak on any agenda item. So putting this public participation policy in place helps put some rules in order to how the public participates, so it's not a free-for-all. It's not them injecting into every single item. They have to notify me 3 days before the meeting that they wish to speak at the meeting and what agenda they wish to speak on. And also point 11, I think it's 11, no, sorry, point 8, participation by city councillors and guest speakers. The council may invite guest speakers to present on matters of interest listed separately on the agenda from public participation. That for me would cover off community groups who have an interest in bringing something forward that would either go to their ward councillor first of all, or me as a point of contact to say, we as a community group would like to bring this forward, and then that's how that comes on the agenda as a completely separate item from public participation. It's just to try and give us some structure to how we're dealing with our public when they are participating, because they do have that legal right to participate in our meetings, but it cannot be on anything that isn't on the agenda, and they cannot incite the councillors into a debate. So that's why it states in the policy that you are not required to give an answer at that meeting.
Can I just confirm though that if someone did come into the meeting and the chair was happy to take a question from them and they hadn't submitted it 3 days before, could they still do that?
What's the point in having a policy then if you're just gonna, if the chair's just gonna allow that to happen?
Yeah, all right, well, I personally, I don't, you know, I think for public engagement, a lot of people will know that the policy's there. And as long as it's a question on something on the agenda, I don't have a problem with someone coming in off the street and asking it that night personally, so I don't see why it's obviously, if it's a detailed question and you want a detailed answer, you should submit it so we can encourage it, but I personally haven't got an issue with it, Pam.
And Dad, the clerk has just said that because she's given power to our elbow. If you're in a meeting and you're chairing that meeting and the tirade that we had happens, the chair can then say, I'm sorry, the policy is you are not talking to an agenda item. You're not asking a question on an agenda item. So if you want to turn what you're saying around into an agenda, prove that it's on the agenda and speak to that, then you are then protecting the chair if the chair takes that person to task, and the protection is there for the chair.
We've already done that. I did that recently. You know, we've had that.
We didn't have it in this meeting, that's what I'm saying, but from the chair, they've got that protection to be able to.
Carry and or yeah.
This is sort of slightly off the specific policy, but of course we are actually under no obligation to publish our recordings.
Sure.
And you know, because of these sorts of things, I think we should consider. Vast majority of community councils never publish their recordings. We still make the recording, and then if there is any issue, it's there, we can use it as evidence if it's needed, if there is bad behaviour or anything else. But it doesn't need to go out to the public, who then, as we know, share it all over social media, slightly edited to, you know, cover the bits that they want and not the bits they don't want. If they're not available, it cuts that out completely, but still protects us because we still have it there in our archive.
Okay, I totally disagree. I think the complete opposite personally, but anyway, Sarah.
Yeah, and just the rules are great. Who's going to police them in the meeting? Because it's like a railway.
Yeah.
I mean, in our main council ones, we've got a host of people to do it.
So, I mean, Helen and Ange.
Mine is very quick. I just would like to propose that you and Kerry think about developing a vexatious behaviour policy, because I think that adds an extra layer of clarity, which I think helps frame and helps people manage the discussion. I've just sent Kerry quickly a very old version that we've got at work, was probably a little
Oh, that's good.
there are lots of policies, and I think we should consider having vexatious behaviour policy.
Yeah, okay, that's great.
So we'll pick that up separately, I think, anyone who wants to, I don't put that on my head. Ange?
Only a question really. If people from the public are going to ask their question 3 days before, does that mean they've got to say they want to come in 3 days before, as in they can't just rock up here on the night?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So therefore the door can be locked then when we're in here.
No, I think they can still come in, but they can't ask a question.
I'll lock the doors.
Anyone can come in and observe.
Okay.
Terry?
Was just going to say what Carrie said.
Okay, okay, so I personally, I don't know what other people think, but I don't mind people coming in and asking a question on the night. Personally, I don't know if you want to do a show of hands for that specific thing.
I think it has to be that is the way it is. I don't like somebody randomly coming in because I'm like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel a bit uneasy there. But,
Okay, does anyone else have any opinions on that specific 3-day thing?
I think it's a good idea.
Right, so
I'm happy for people to come in.
I think it depends what they're expecting from the meeting. If they're expecting an answer, they can't turn up on the night and ask.
No.
But
if
you tell them that in the reply.
Yeah.
But I
Or
think
if
we
they
do
would-
need perhaps to be more upfront with people. I think if we're about encouraging people to come in, which I think we should be,
Mm.
you know, we talked a lot about the risks this evening, but actually a vast majority of people will come and contribute to our discussion. You know, then we need to be upfront with people and say, we really encourage you to come in, but please let us know and give us an indication of what your question is so that we can get the
I
answer.
think that you could do the two things there. You could say, go on,
Well, I was just going to say, could I suggest maybe that we offer the two options? Because if something's on the agenda, then they can come in, but they're not going to get an answer there and then. But then they can also submit the question 3 days in advance. A bit,
you're more likely to get a response.
yeah, because then you're more like, not guaranteed, because it depends what you're asking.
Yeah.
So if you submit it 3 days in advance, well, that can give the councillor and the officers opportunity to gather the information that they need to provide some sort of answer.
Okay, so I'm just on this one point, I'm just gonna take a little vote, just because I don't really know, I think we're gonna get stuck otherwise. So those in favour of the recommendation, which is that you can only speak if you submit a question 3 days before.
What are the other options?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
In favour of what you just said.
In favour of the policy document in front of you, that you have to submit a question before.
3 days before.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, so that's 6. So the other option would be all those in favour of being able to ask a question on the night. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Put
7.
his hand up for both.
No, I think he just put his hand up for the second one. Tim, could you just clarify for Carrie? She seems to think you're happy for people to ask questions on the night, correct?
All 3 days.
Sorry, 3 days ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I thought so.
So that you don't support them being able to ask a question on the night, is that correct?
Yes, they can come in but cannot speak.
Right, so that's 7 to 6. Bloody hell, that's gonna annoy people. Right.
With what Swansea Council do.
Yeah.
No,
You have to submit a question about
no, you can still ask a question on the agenda. You don't have to submit
Yeah,
it.
I think you have to do it.
You don't have to submit a question. You don't.
I think
I think it will protect us. I mean, the thing is, the sort of people who want to cause trouble are not going to be submitting a formal question 3 days in advance.
Okay.
It means
Yes.
that we can prevent that
Yeah, we don't.
grandstanding being done on the night.
Okay, that's been
Yeah.
agreed. So is there anything else in the policy that anyone else had any burning desire to change?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to. Anything else? No. Okay, so with that, well, there's no amendment. So
With the addition at a later date of a vexatious.
So all those in favour of accepting the policy, policy. Next one, we looking forward to the marquee loan policy. Model, I hope no one's recording the marquee. That's going to end up on some comedy show. Anyway, model protocol on member officer relations. Okay, does Pam?
Committee, so this, I feel very read in it. It says on what the onus on members of the council, that you are, one, you're respectful to each other, and two, that you operate under the code of conduct. What I would have liked to also have seen in it is, if you were in a meeting where you can see that one councillor is being abused or being made to try to make them look stupid, you are obligated to speak up and say to that person, you're out of order here. I would anyway. But there's nothing in the policy to say that members of a committee, the onus is on them as well to try and keep things above the bar, above the level. Because there are meetings when a person is targeted. We all know which all happened. But there should be an onus on us as councillors in that committee meeting to take the responsibility to shut it down.
Yeah, but surely that's the chair. The chair should be.
Yeah, well, if the chair's the one doing it, you can't do it, can you?
Okay. Is there any people got any opinions on anything else inside the document, or Rebecca?
Sorry if this is covered and I've missed it, but I think there's also historically been an issue around like councillors doing this voluntarily. We're doing it around jobs, we're doing it on Saturday mornings and midnight on Thursday, whatever, and officers are not.
Yeah.
And there should be, because given that it outlines expectations, I think there should be something in there that, you know, councillors can expect a response from officers in working hours.
Yeah.
Officers can expect to be left alone when they're on holiday.
Yeah.
You know? There should be something in there. It's an important distinction.
Right.
If not,
Yeah, I think everyone's in agreement with that. Ian, could we note that, please, to add?
send it, but don't expect a reply.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, can you do that? So then you're working a midnight, but yeah.
If you send something and they see it 9 o'clock the following morning, that's
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so with that added, all those in favour of accepting the document? Thank you. Okay, so we've actually got 2 people in this room running for Welsh Government. If any of them or both of them get in, they can look back on this marketing and policy. It's the highlight of their careers, I'm sure. When you're discussing, you know, big stuff in Cardiff. No, I'm certainly not, no. Right, okay, marquee loan policy, Humbles Community Council. Anyone got any opinions on it?
I think it looks great, and I propose we go straight to a vote.
They have to give it back as it was sent. Basically what it says. If you damage it, you pay for it. That should be. Yeah.
And it's ours first before anybody else's.
Yeah.
Can it be loaned out?
Yes.
Yeah, to groups and.
No, but can it be loaned out to the person who's taking care of it? Because I thought.
If somebody can't have it and then sublet it.
Oh, right,
So they-
okay. Yeah.
And there's a priority of use of who gets has been.
You can't say that because you won't know. If they
When we
say-
see it out.
Yeah.
Then we'll know.
Well, you won't know whether money's changed time during the county, will you?
Well, no,
But they're not allowed to sublet it.
there are limits to what we could, I mean, we would know it to the extent that they wouldn't be allowed to ever have it again.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
All those in favour? Yeah, okay, right. Okay, item number 11, biodiversity crisis budget, appointed ecologist to consider the appropriate appointment of the ecologist at a cost of £400. Up to, I shouldn't blah, 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 should I? Could this be recorded? To advise the optimal locations of bird and bat box to support council's biodiversity crisis work and approve the associated expenditure from the biodiversity crisis budget. Do you want to very
Can I explain the reason this has come?
Let's go to vote.
Yeah, I second we go to vote.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
Right, fine, as long as you're happy.
Sorry. So,
Why is it coming like this? Why can't this be?
I would have explained, but.
yeah, that's a good point.
Explain what you've heard, what I'm going to ask.
Well, yeah, it's true. Okay, you can go on.
New areas is that this sort of proposal should come out of the environmental budget. If there's not enough in the environmental budget, it should then be a budget proposal.
Harry, do you want to?
Yes, it actually says from the biodiversity crisis budget.
Yeah, but where is that? And how long have you had that?
It's in the environmental committee budget.
So you've got two budgets, have you?
Not as far as I know. No.
It's a subline inside that.
Well, if it's there, why are you asking, to use it?
Because, as I would like to explain, unfortunately, when we got to this item on the environmental committee agenda, the meeting was not quorate. Therefore, we were not able to actually approve the expenditure within the committee. The only way we could go ahead is for it to be approved by full council. Therefore, it's here, and everybody's just said, yes, it's fine, let's.
Okay, I think that was partly my fault for rushing through the thing, so apologies for that, Gary. Do you have any further follow-up questions, Ian?
Well, if you're not quorate, you can't have a meeting. I don't see why.
That's why.
Please explain. I was there to leave you to the end, but then I had to go and feed my Chinese students. So I had to leave.
Other student.
You're not quorate, you're not quorate.
Yeah, Stephen's fine. Ian. Any more questions, or are we right to sit as the vote?
No, I'm just making my point.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
It's just laughed at. So I thought there was a certain behavioural process here.
Yeah, there is. It was my fault for trying to rush that through. Sorry, we'll
The vote was moved.
Councillors.
All right, all those in favour of accepting? Yeah. Okay, item 12, floral decorations, 2026. Selection of quote from Swansea Council to consider the quotes received from Swansea Council for the next year's floral decorations, peat-free and peat-reduced options, and to agree which quote to accept. So in your packs, we've got the.
Yeah, and so where are they? I did ask actually for each free option, which we've always gone for, and then the other one is a reduced option. But I did ask in the meeting, by how much is it reduced? As you know, so I think. Personally, I think maybe we just go with the peat free, but yeah, if you can make this difference as well.
It's £800 difference. I mean, I would say use the reduced peat.
Yeah, but it could be like lower price, then the cheaper price. Peat reduced by just 10% or.
Suppose we do not go with the reduced.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could be reduced by 1%.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
We should just go with the peat-free.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two options here. One, if you could write these down in front of you, one is for £11,039, and that is the floral displays with the peat reduced, and the non-peat option is £12,220. So if we go with the reduced, the complete peat-free one first, and see if that gets the amount of votes. So all those in favour of the peat-free, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 9. That's carried. Thanks. Okay. Newton Ward Christmas Party donation to Newton Church, to consider the donation of £350 to Newton Church to support Newton Christmas Party to be funded from Newton Ward Christmas Party budget. Angela, do you want to speak?
Only a slight amendment. It's actually not so much to the church, it's for the village hall. If we could just let me know.
Yeah, well, Ian, can we make that change to the minutes, please? Instead of the church, it's the village hall. Thank you.
Advertised widely, Angela, not just in Newton.
It's a Newton Ward one.
It's,
It's just been new.
Yeah, yeah.
To be honest, this event is, we've always done a Christmas party for the Newton Ward at Newton Church Hall.
In Village Hall.
This year, they are doing their own one. And therefore, we were going to do ours at Underhill. But then, because I'm looking at everything, there was another one going on at the golf club, and all the dates were all very close together. I don't think we would have had much uptake being with the other dates being so close and targeting similar groups maybe of people. And it was decided that we wouldn't have the one at Underhill, but we'd support the one at the church by giving them a donation. I've met with the vicar there with the view that we go forward together next year, because we lost Claire obviously as a marketing officer, so that we can work together and have back to where we were last year, having a joint one together going forward next year. And he is.
Okay, Karen?
yes, there were a number of people who had booked for the Underhill one and then were told that it had been cancelled, but were not offered the opportunity to go to this one, which we are using the money for. So I'm not happy with us using this money unless all the people who got 2 days' notice to be told that their Christmas lunch was no longer going to happen are ensured a place at this alternative Christmas lunch.
Do you know the
Because nobody's seen any advertising for it. They have no idea how to go about actually getting booked onto it.
I agree about the lack of advertising, because it was a church event that they advertised, I believe, only in the church. You know, for their.
How do people, yeah, how do they get to go to it when they had their lunch?
They can bring the church and they can go to the church one. I just think they have to book on.
The church hall.
Yes, it's sold out.
Village hall.
The Village Hall is.
So if it's sold out, why was the other one cancelled?
Well,
I'm saying there wasn't enough
please.
Let me speak, please, to respond. And I don't know that there was much of an uptake. Hannah has told me that there was X amount of people booked on. So I don't know how.
I can answer that. I mean, the one you're referring to sold out is the one that the church organised at Village Hall. The one we tried to organise at the hub, ringing round people, the problems that were faced with, there was already one on the same day in the golf club that people were committed to. There was also a lot of elderly residents saying that the hub was an unsuitable venue to hold it in because with mobility problems, and they couldn't walk across the road, stuff like that. As Angela has said, you know, we haven't been able to promote this as early as we'd like to because we've lost Claire, so we haven't got an events officer at the moment. So, you know, we've been minus that to help us run it. So seeing as we've always held our Christmas party, Newton Ward party, at the Village Hall in Newton, in conjunction with the church, all we're doing is diverting some of the money we've got for that to help with the cost of putting that on.
Right, yes, but at the end of the day, it's the ward councillors are entitled to do what they want to do on their Christmas budget.
Can I make a point though, Chair?
Yes.
Is that with MCC, I think it's important that we put on secular, as it were, parties, events, so that anyone can go to them. I think the church one, as you said, it was booked up already. But it was booked up already, and now we're giving more money. Are they going to make it for a larger event?
So I want to make progress here, so let's try and move on. But I think you're never going to be able to let everyone who wants to be able to come, because if you did, you'd have like 4,000 people in each ward potentially going to a party, right? There's always going to unfortunately be people that can't come. But I'm sure, Carrie, if you know people that can't go, if you email the 4 Newton councillors, I'm sure they'll try their best to put them on a squeeze them in, whatever. I'll bring Carrie in first, Carrie, if you don't mind. She hasn't spoken.
Yeah, I just want to make one point. If you all recall, I did actually raise this in a previous council meeting where I asked councillors to tell me if they still wanted to go ahead with their ward Christmas parties, and the consensus was all councillors was yes, they did. I'd like to actually just recognise Hannah for the work that she's done with organising the 3 events and getting them booked within the space of a week, because I think she's done a fantastic job. And yes, okay, Newton has been cancelled, but she's still done the legwork to get the required booking and everything secured, as she has done for Nails and as she did do for Oystermouth, and produce all the marketing in-house and get all of that pushed out on social media as well. So I just want to mention that.
That was the point. That was the point. Karen,
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it may be a misunderstanding, but certainly in terms of the rest of the events, they are MCC funded events for residents of MCC. They happen to be in the 4 wards because that means that everyone has one that is near to them that they can attend. If they don't have a car, they might not be able to get to Nails to the event there, but they know that there's an event in Oystermouth and they can get to that one instead. It seems to be 3 of the events are running on that basis, but the 4th event is somehow being restricted to only being for Newton residents.
Party.
Well, West Cross Ward Party is not checking
Okay.
postcodes and saying you can't come because it's a West Cross Party.
Okay, guys, okay, right, there's a lot of opinions, there's still a lot of hands up here. Well, there's 3 or 4 hands up before you. I think we're just going to move forward to a vote, unfortunately. I know everyone wants to still speak on it, but we're going to go round in circles for ages, I'm afraid. So apologies if anyone still has something to say, but at the time we do have to draw the line. Sorry, Pam, no, we're going to just go to a vote, I'm afraid. So all those in favour of Newton Ward Christmas party donation to Newton Church instead of the ward? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's carried. Okay, thank you.
Abstention.
I would have abstained as planning.
Any abstentions?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. 4, 5.
Simply because it's about it.
Right, so we've got the exclusion of press public, we've also gone over time. So we will vote to suspend standing orders first. So all those in favour of that? It's carried. Ian, could you want to turn the order off? And second vote, if everyone could just vote for the inclusion of the press and public, please, before the.
Yeah.
But also, thank you. Does anyone mind if I go to the toilet?